Okay, so I placed the iron along with the nickel neodymium underneath the iron. I bound it with tape. I've also put a wax type paper here. This is a plastic, thermoplastic, and I applied a winding coil around here. There, the copper will be next to apply to the system. These are the rails. It has hollow open clearances. There's a conductor cathode used to move onto a slotted rod within it. This is joined to this system, connected by here. The following part that is joined to the system is this. The top part of the aluminum, this aluminum part, which is the top part above the winding coil, where the permanent magnets are alongside at the bottom. So that shall strengthen the magnetic field. And winding coil shall push against this aluminum gauge and cause it to lift up into the air. This is a part of the wrist, segment of the wrist part of the body armor. My name is Jermaine Morton. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Okay, I've applied the cathode rails. Hollow open clearance copper that is turned to a cylindrical, and I'm going to apply the the aluminum rod within it. This is going to be a jointed rod, ball bearing sphere jointed rod, giving a 240-degree axis turn. I believe it's I believe it's like more than a 90-degree turn, just a 90-degree turn. Right here, I have the permanent magnets embedded within the system. I have the embedded on top of the iron. This is iron here, this is copper, and this is aluminum. And a winding coil that is above the iron, bearing the nickel neodymium and the copper. Exhibiting here is a loop also for armature, for like a latch to operate the other parts of the armor. This right here is local to attach to the glove. This part is attached to the following of the forearm wrist. This is to couple to the movement, the actuator of this is the actual actuator of the rails to move back and forth on the rails and to knock down the aluminum, articulated aluminum rods, spherical jointed rods, elbow rods. And those micro ones will move up and down onto the system. This is the wrist part of the armor. My name is Jermaine Morton. Okay, so what I did was I added a stack of aluminum. This is for electromagnetic, diamagnetic suspension, self-suspension. So what I did was I applied the iron, making a commutator. This is going to be to the gauntlet. See the drawing localized there. So the curved part of the back of the wrist area, I've added the curved iron. The iron having a stack of aluminum and copper that you see here. They are in series, and I'm not finished with this project. It's just to create the reactive type. Now the stack of aluminum, copper, in between the stacks of aluminum and copper shall be winding coils. I'm going to wind the coils around from the central all the way around to the end, and it will be coupled to the aluminum. That's local to the copper, coupled to the aluminum, and coupled to the aluminum and local to the copper, and they shall be stacked upon one another, connected in a series, and they shall be connected to the armor brace like that, like a commutator. So like a commutator motor. The reason why I applied it to the inside, because this is the back of the wrist part right here, so it has to move upwardly this way. If I would have turned it the opposite direction, and this being iron, which is the beginning part, and the following, which is the copper, then comes the aluminum, the magnetic field, with the repulsive force would have lifted upwardly this way. So that's the reason why I applied it within the system. Now, as the top part, the reason why I cut this part this way, specifically to add to, this is the wrist part, which is local at the wrist. This is what you see, it has a little, like a U cut into it. And right now I'm preparing the stacks on top of one another, but I still have to add the winding coil. And the reason why I have it this way on the outside for the frontal is because it moves upward. The steer that I have it in for the inside and here for the outside, this is connected together as a bracelet. Thus, the electromagnetic repulsive field is moving in the same direction, which causes the diamagnetic repulsive behavior against aluminum and against the copper and move up into the air. Okay, and a vertical, other than dodging away from one another, go in separate directions. So I had it aimed specifically to move in one direction. So, therefore, the coil shall be next. And I shall apply permanent magnets local to the side of the walls to magnetize the iron to increase the magnetic field. So, therefore, I believe that this has enough gauge to it. And it's according to my biometric range. I have applied the first part of the segment. I already have made the templates to cut the part of the segment. So now I'm just making it into a commuter. So I shall shape the ends and weld it together, to couple together after I apply the coils within the system. And I'm trying to make it as thin as possible to resemble symbolically like the Mark 42 gauntlet. So, my name is Jermaine Morton, and goodbye. Have a nice day. Okay, this is the additional part of the armor with a copper rail system, which is the cathode, open cylindrical hollow, open clearance rail system, and that is the bottom of the piece of the gauntlet of the second bearing coil and copper underneath. This is for the linear bar and as for to levitate. This is the iron framework. I bent the edges according to the shape, and I folded the iron and the aluminum over. I'm going to flatten it, and the winding coils between the iron bottom and the aluminum top for lift. As you actually here, the winding electrical one is facing that way, upward in a vertical position. I'm also going to put the winding coil in a horizontal to move it back and forward. This is the armor to the back of the forearm, back, and I'm going to finish the other pieces. And remind the back. Okay, I placed the permanent magnets in central, one permanent magnet in central, and two permanent magnets at the side, nickel neodymium. And I put a winding coil around them. This is a metallic foundation. Use light as aluminum foil. The gorge is light as aluminum foil. The gorge is about the same gorge as the winding coil, AWG, I believe this is 24. So the gorge of the iron is about the same gorge. And I'll place a aluminum alongside, and it should be coupled to this unit and connect to this unit. And I'm going to do that in just a moment. The magnetic repulsive energy will cause this aluminum to lift up in the air, this iron at the bottom, and aluminum at the aluminum on the top. So